People, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? I'm gonna bring this downstairs to you. I love you. Give me a kiss. Huh? I'll be out in a bit. Okay. What's going on, everybody? It's good to see y'all. Happy Saturday. It's good to be home. About to get in the office. I'm so excited. Truly. But it's good to see everybody, man. For real, for real. Not for play. These chapters are definitely one for the books, for sure. Uh, I'm forgetting what they're called, but this is the end of, or not the end. That's a good part of chapter 4, or part 4, excuse me. Be a leader, how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. And the next the next 4 chapters. So, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. This is definitely fire. I myself definitely have noticed a lot of like tidbit things that I most definitely can work on when I'm chopping it up with people and just pointing out how mistakes are made or just honestly as we're all adjusting and getting better. It's dope. I absolutely love the real life examples that they gave and everything. So I'm excited to see whole squads take on them. Definitely going to be a game changer today. This is why I was like, yo, let's make sure everybody hops on because this is definitely going to be what I would call one of them ones. So let's get it in. But with that, because Mr. Marcus Rivera was not able to hop on the call last week, I think it's only right if my man opens us up today. So, Marcus, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you unless you need a second.
No, we're good. What's up, y'all? Happy Saturday. It's good to see everybody. I am excited to be back on the call. I had work last weekend, and then previously I was literally with some family on the beach, and I tried my best to be on, but my signal was not allowing me to. So felt weird not being able to be on because I never miss these calls for a reason. Um, High key, like yes, they're designed for everybody on team, especially y'all along your journeys to really sharpen y'all's axe and grow y'all's mindset and like get through these type of books um not by yourself with other people. But I'm not gonna lie, like I literally thrive off book club because it helps me stay in tune with the things I need to be doing in order to get to where I'm going. um I always reference Jim Rohn, but the level of your success is determined by the level of your personal development, so being able to continuously grow that within a call like this has been amazing. And it's been dope. So I started catching up on the recordings. I haven't gotten to watch all of them just yet. It's been a busy couple weekends, a couple weeks, but just getting right into it with part four's chapters 1 through 5 is what we're covering today. I think it's really important. Uh, if you must find fault, this is the way to begin. And it's always easier to listen to unpleasant things after we have heard some praise of our good points, is what I highlighted on that first page. And essentially, I felt like this was like repeated at the beginning of the book, but first giving praise and honest appreciation and then addressing the mistake and correction needed gives people the ability to like want to listen to you. So in the process as a leader, like you've got to guide people and direct them on where to go. And a lot of the time you're correcting individuals to go in a way that's going to allow them to expedite their journey, but also avoid difficulties or obstacles that you know are in the way. So a lot of individuals, including like yourself, probably do not like being told what to do. So it's being able to get to somebody at a point where they're open and receptive enough is extremely important. Um, and I feel as though when you give that honest appreciation, like someone can feel that versus you giving like this fake type of thing just so that you can tell somebody what to do or what is best for them. Most people try to like address the situation without fully taking in consideration the other individual. So you focusing on, all right, let me praise and honestly appreciate somebody and what they've got going on literally makes a big difference as you're communicating effectively. Number two, how to criticize and not be hated for it. I don't know. I think like you can be appreciated for it, but there's still some hate there. So you can't like necessarily avoid it just because you're literally criticizing people and people don't like that type of feeling. Um, but the biggest thing that I wanted to touch on, and it's a good reflective point for everybody, is that um, on 201, it says, "You are leaders. You will be most effective when you lead by example." I don't know, take some introspect and see whether or not before you call attention to people's mistakes or you try to do so indirectly, like are you yourself doing what you said needs to be done or needs to be done from those who have told you what you need to do in order to get to where you want. If you don't, then you honestly don't have a right to call attention to anybody's mistakes because you've got to call attention to your own. Um, I also like the fact that changing the word but to and just because he said that it says the many people begin their criticism with sincere praise followed by the word but and ending with a critical statement. So we're really proud of you, Joanne, but raising for raising your grades this term. But if you had worked harder on your algebra, the results would have been better. I try to help people understand this concept because I learned it from Marcusetta. But every time you say the word "but," everything you just said before that word was literally disqualified, and whatever you're about to say is the truth behind it. So if you sincerely want somebody to understand that you appreciate them and you're giving them that authentic praise, then you've got to be willing to understand and get rid of that word "but." Like, and like the example he says, "We're really proud of you, Joanne, for raising your grades this term, and by continuing the same continuous efforts next term, your algebra grade can be up with all the others." So it's just like as you're giving people constructive, positive feedback and criticism, it's very imperative that you are mindful of the words that you use. Because even the smallest words like but can leave somebody feeling really encouraged. And then when they hear you say that, they'll be like, bro, what are you talking about? Third, talking about your own mistakes first. This is something that I have applied quite often in like conflict resolution. Um, Admitting one's own mistakes, even when one hasn't corrected them, can help convince somebody to change his or her behavior. So I've recognized that it is this like action has made me more humble as an individual because I understand I am no greater than anyone else. Like I know that I too am born of the same flesh and blood, and I too am gonna die in the same way that everyone else will. And therefore, like we're not perfect. So I think I loved when he talked about in 204 when he brought up that you are not born with judgment, that comes only with experience, and you are better than it's nearly not so difficult to listen to a recital of your faults if the person criticizing begins by humbly admitting that he too is far from impeccable. So a lot of the times people don't communicate effectively enough so that when they're just aiming to criticize, they don't find that level ground of relatability and telling somebody like where they faltered as well. So you putting your pride to the side, I always remind myself like pride cometh before the fall, that you can literally meet somebody where they're at and speak to them on a level even ground. And that honestly holds a lot of weight through the process as you are building your connection with people and leading them on a better path. Boo, boo, boo. Principle 4, asking questions instead of giving direct orders. This has been something that has been, it's a lot easier said than done. And you've got to be able to, one, generate questions that allow for communication, but also to help somebody reflect and understand. I think asking questions is one of the most powerful things that you can do to help somebody think. Most of the time, people just simply react and don't go into the thought of what has triggered an action or a behavior. So if you ask specific questions that help individuals, like simply just think about what it is they've done or what it is that they want to do, it'll help you actually give them more constructive, effective guidance because they understand that one, they're putting the pieces together on their own. It's more effective that way. So in that, it kind of goes back to what John C. Maxwell talks about. Leadership is caught, not taught. As you're leading by example, and you're having these communications and conversations with people to resolve conflict and help them improve on what it is that they have done or failed to do, you allow those gears in their heads to go into focus is solution mode versus problem mode. So one, I always believe it's kind of like asking questions is like the guy on the runway for an airplane that is literally like guiding somebody to like, hey, land here. But if you're not asking the right questions, the pilot of the flight is not going to see the lights that you're trying to aim them towards. So one, like it takes a lot of patience on your end as a leader to like literally take yourself out of your own shoes again. That's why the humility is really important. And then being able to ask the right questions that encourage and foster thinking between all parties, not just the people that you're trying to help. And then number 5 is let the other person save face. Sorry, my mom texted y'all. Boop boop boop. Where did I want to touch on this? Okay, so he says a few minutes thought and consider a word or two. A genuine understanding of the other person's attitude would go so far toward elevating the steam. And being mindful and letting somebody be and felt reassured gives somebody an ability to receive those difficult type of conversations, because at the end of the day, what fosters growth is accountability. And when you have people who are being held accountable, or those who are giving the accountability, you got to be able to recognize that like it's not always easy. It's actually extremely difficult to hear it from the other end that you've done something wrong or you failed to do exactly what you were supposed to. So giving somebody that same grace that you would want in order to quote unquote save face allows them to be in tune and honestly appreciate you as a person, because you didn't go and act like you were this perfect individual who is the judge and executioner. Period, point blank. A lot of people get that twisted. So yeah, I mean, the application of these principles have allowed me to be more caring, more genuine in my humility, and more intentional with the conversations I have and the questions that I ask. Because as you are working up in the different levels of leadership, you can gain the insight from any successful person in any industry, but the problems and the conflicts are going to become larger as well. A lot of people want $1 million but don't want to deal with $1 million problems, and you've got to like prepare yourself to understand that conflict is always going to be around, and how you communicate through those difficult situations, as well as how you lead other individuals to know what to do when they're in them, but also how to lead others through that process. It's going to be like, that's what will help you get the influence to guide people in the right way. So these I'm very grateful for these principles, because I know that having applied them over the past few years in a very intentional manner, I've grown as a man, as a brother, as an uncle. I've grown in my emotional intelligence, in my faith, and it's allowed me to really rely upon a power that's greater than me. So I'm grateful for humility for sure, in this book. So I'm excited to hear everyone's take on it. I did want to say that I know I missed a lot of some dope conversations over the past couple weeks, and a lot of which is like that fine line between manipulation and really guiding somebody in the right direction. So just to share some insight, and I've literally talked about this for a couple people on this call, but I know when I first read this book and started applying it, I was high key, just to be completely transparent, utilizing the principles and testing it out. In a time where I was single and having fun. So I did not do so entirely in every aspect for just business. Like, I was able to see a lot of this stuff work in me just wanting to have fun with some females I took interest in. And through that, I could really see how people lose their line of sight and um an intention behind what it is they do, when you recognize how much power really comes with you being willing to listen, willing to guide somebody in a conversation, and then implement ways in which to help somebody be guided along the path. So all I want to say is I'm grateful, because I was told from my own personal reflection, as well as just like me just messing around too much, that I got to be intentional about what it is I want and where I'm going. And through that, I was able to like redirect it, and that type of intention being redirected, and the intention that was behind that allowed me to honestly make strides in my leadership, in my results, in my ability to lead others. So as you guys really go apply these principles, and if you haven't read any of the book, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go and read the book, because it literally changes the game. But as you start applying it, just be mindful of when you're actually utilizing these principles, and take inventory and reflection on what you're doing with the information and how it is that it is affecting other people. Because this definitely made me recognize how there are consequences to your actions, and you just got to be mindful of what it is you want and where you're going. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of throw some insight on what you guys talked about the last couple of weeks. I feel like I missed some dope combos, but I'm excited to hear everybody's intake. That being said, I pass this thing over to I want to say Karen, because that man been giving me the energy the whole time. But anybody who Brandon wants to actually take it, it's all up to you. If you ain't ready, Cam, it's all good, bro.
Yeah, I've been like, I have to learn how to use my laser focus and apply it in multiple places, because I'm still having that tough time, because I get super laser focused on one thing, and then I'll have to do something else, and then it throws me completely off. And then, yeah, so I did not have a chance to read the book again. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Bro,
you ain't never got to apologize to me.
Look, this is me also apologizing to
the
this is more so me apologizing to squad, because I like to think of myself as somewhat of a leader, and leaders are supposed to lead, and I'm not leading. So a lot of what you said, even in just like what you just said, like literally a couple minutes ago, really resonated with me, because it's more so like, okay, so you have to be intentional with what you're doing. Well, are you being intentional in actually like putting in the action that your mentors are telling you to do? No. Why is that? So I have to. I am my own biggest critic, and sometimes I'm a lot more critical than I should be, but I'll get better.
No, you're good, bro. I appreciate your honesty. You know what I'm saying? And through it, it's all good, bro. High key, like if anything, bro, I stress it all the time. Like I don't like yes, I show up for a team, but I also know in order for myself to show up for a team, I have to show up for myself. So like just bro, don't do it for anyone else or anything other than you and your family, and like recognize that the not every millionaire reads. Every billionaire does though.
Boop.
So it just depends on like what it is you really want, you know what I'm saying? And through that, but there's different ways to get the book information. You got audiobooks, you got the whole 9 yards, but a lot of the stuff, 95% of everything is mental and spiritual. So you gotta literally get that stuff in tune for everything else to be in alignment. So just keep doing what you're doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all good to criticize yourself. Don't be overly too hard. Give yourself some grace to the process, but hey, man, way to own up for your own mistakes, as the principle number 1 in part 4 was talking about, bro. It's literally the first step, you know? So just being willing, you're good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just tune in, keep it going. And then maybe after at the end, whatever stood out most to you, you can touch on. But whoever read, Amber, Mikhail, you want to go on ahead.
Amber definitely can take it. I'll go after or something. But real quick, sir, come to my house and come get this book. Okay? It'll help you. Just come get this thing. Come start reading it. Period, point blank. And come like in the next 24, 48 hours. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll drop it off to you after church or something. Or, you know what I'm saying? We'll figure it out. But either way, you should definitely come get that thing because I used to have the same problem. And that is the one that helped me. And I didn't even read the whole thing. I just read a little bit of it and was like, oh, this is crazy. Yes. And it helped me start getting intentional. And then when you come over, I'll make sure that you download the book on your phone so that you actually have it. Because that's majority of the reason why majority of squad doesn't ever read, or not majority, excuse me, is they haven't actually went and downloaded or bought the book yet. Period. So I'm gonna just literally walk you through the steps so we can't even miss a beat. You know what I'm saying? But with that, Amber, go ahead, take that.
What up? I want to say something to Cam
Wow.
too, real quick. Earlier, you said I think of myself as somewhat as a leader. How you think of yourself is the whole thing. Like it's the whole name of the game. So just think of yourself as the leader, as the leader that you are, and that's it. That's all there is to it. What was I gonna say? Oh, I've only read the first 2 chapters of the wands. And so the first principle is talking about begin with praise and honest appreciation. So the first 2 is about how to criticize with without making people hate you. So like it's that's what it says, how to criticize and not be hated for it. The first principle, begin with praise and honest appreciation, and then call attention to a person's mistakes indirectly. I feel like within that principle, or maybe it was the chapter after that where it talks about owning up to talk about your mistakes first. Yeah. My niece is here. I'm at my family's house, so it's all crazy. Okay, so giving praise and honest appreciation. Yeah, I mean, like as a leader leading that is the one thing that I've been like exercising a lot, like throughout my experience, and really like looking for ways to appreciate people and to like praise them even on like little things, you know. And that's why like even getting on this call is like such a big deal, you know, even like the act of like showing up and like call and giving emphasis to that. I know like one thing within my experience that I've heard a lot is celebrate what you want to duplicate. And so like when I see you know, things that I want to like duplicate within my organization or within my life, really like even with my niece, like, you know, we're leaders in all different areas of our lives. And so like within here, like if there's something that I want her to do, like she's 2, so she's literally just doing every single thing that we're doing. So like, doing it first and like, leading by example. And then when she does do it, like celebrating her and knowing, like giving her that praise and appreciation. So she knows that like, okay, what I did is like good, or, what I did is working. So she keep doing it. So yes, giving praise and honest appreciation was the first principle that we went over. It was a really good reminder. The second one is call to people's mistakes indirectly. Yeah, this is one principle that I've had to work on a lot. I know, like in the beginning of talking to people, honestly, like my personal development with talking to people has developed so much. Like I just remember in the beginning, younger years, a long time ago, I was very, I always had good intentions, but I was just really rude and like blunt. I just felt like I would just talk like very like direct. I'm like, that's not right. Like that's wrong. Like you shouldn't do it like that. You should do it like this. And like that was not effective whatsoever. Like I cared and I had the right idea, but like the way that I went about it, my communication was very much not okay. And I got the results that you get, which is I get people cry and leave and not want to participate in whatever it is that you're talking about. So yeah. So like whenever like you want to correct somebody, one thing that I've exercised a lot is really helping people understand like the mistake for themselves, like really if you like allow someone to talk and just like listen to them and ask them like those intentional questions, and we giving an example or a suggestion of like where like something that they could have done differently really kind of emphasizes the criticism or like helping them change that action without like one thing that I always say is like ask like my friends or like people that I'm like giving advice to or something. I'm like, can I offer you a new perspective? That sentence right there really helps as well. And then next one, principle 3, talk about your mistakes before criticizing other people. This one, in my experience, this principle is really important, and I've been practicing it a lot more recently. And really like just talking about yourself and talking about like you going through that same experience and how like you failed or like how you just didn't do it perfectly is really helpful, because honestly like that's really the name of the game here. Like we're not like the whole point of doing all of the stuff that we're doing, like personal development, our DMOs, praying, meditating, working out, all of this stuff is so we can feel good. And when we feel bad about not doing it and we put that shame onto ourselves, we're contradicting all of the principles and the practices. So when we shame ourselves for not doing it, it just makes it harder to do it. And the whole point of doing all these practices is so we can feel good, because our vibration is what's like the most important thing, and keeping that high and all of these things that we do adds to that. So whenever so like going back to this principle of like calling out yourself first, I think like when it comes to being a leader, yes, like calling out your mistakes for yourself first, but also showing like yourself grace for other people, I feel like is very important too. Like like in the beginning, like when I first started like TGF, I felt like I had a lot of like shame, like issues that I was like dealing with, and I would feel really guilty if I couldn't get on the calls, or like if I didn't read the book. I felt like I'm talking a lot of guilt, like eating at me, like oh my god, and I would feel bad. And then like over time, I kept getting on, and then I just like developed and realized that like like the whole point of these practices is for me to feel good and for me to get this stuff. It's not for me to prove myself, it's not for me to show, like it's just for me. And so I over time I stopped feeling like bad about that shame like started to go away, and I started to I started to practice more grace in general. But this was one way I was like practicing grace on myself, being like, even though like I'm still going to show up on the calls and get this value no matter what. Like there's no point in like shaming myself or getting mad at myself for like not reading or not doing any of that. There's no like tally out here. Like, I'm gonna get done eventually. And it's all good. And so like that's one thing that I've been adding like to that practice as well, is like, calling myself out, like criticizing myself, but also showing myself that grace on myself, so we could let it go. And that is what I got from this past couple of chapters this week. Love this book. It's been the best. I'll get the comments real quick. Yeah. Hey. Okay, whoever wants to go next could go.
And what's wild is I literally had just finished typing out my comment in the chat as you literally were saying, like, grace for yourself is so important. So I just wanted to like beat that message with a stick real quick because that's real life, dude. Like shame is something that like we all have to overcome, guilt, as human beings. So I think you hit it right on the money, girl. It's such an imperative part of like being able to continuously take those steps in the right direction. So kudos to you because I know how difficult it is and you've been doing your thing. Proud of you, girl.
Thanks.
I think Mikhail forgot that it was his turn, huh? He's like, yeah, I'll take it right after Amber.
I definitely, for some reason, I thought she was about to pass it to Matt Rimani or something, yo. My fault, y'all. My fault. No, so I guess I definitely can go. You know me, I'd be liking to listen to everybody's, you know what I'm saying, and then I'd be going at the end and stuff. I absolutely love that. But this week is different. So ultimately, y'all, one of the biggest things that I have a problem with is that but and. So I'm gonna just start there. I literally have a huge problem because, in our profession, I done did a little bit and I be trying to like help people get better or correct people or like, hey, you should maybe do it this way. And as I read those parts in that book, that entire chapter, I was like, yo, I can see where I've definitely dropped the ball. Even a voice message I sent a couple days ago to like chop it up about how a call went. Definitely dropped the ball in ways that I could have communicated a constructive word of criticism. And so it was just dope to honestly read these pages and just recognize like where I've actually had faults. And then also recognize, as I was talking about last week, like when I put my uncle in, it was literally asking the questions as they talked about in there and leading a person, as Marcus talked about, to actually making their own decision instead of being like, hey, do this, do that, do that. Literally, if you just ask them questions where they low key already know the answer, then they're going to do exactly what they know that they should do because they decided that they wanted to do it versus you deciding that they needed to do it. Because who are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not my dad. That's literally how people react naturally. And sometimes it might not come out their mouth, but like subconsciously, that's literally what goes through their head. And that's why, as entrepreneurs, we like, quote unquote, don't like authority. And then we come into a personal development space where people are telling us exactly what to do. And so it's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's literally a hard journey. And we as leaders, as we tell other people what to do in this process, knowing and understanding that entrepreneurs, one of the main reasons they don't want to be an employee is because they don't want to have the authoritative figure over them. We have to like walk that thin line between trying to be a leader and a guide versus, as Abraham put, like a dictator. You know what I'm saying? And so it was definitely dope just seeing the ways in which that is done in this book and also just relating it back to ways in which that we've done well as ways in which that we haven't. So it was definitely different. Because I ain't gonna lie, one thing I've definitely had a problem with is offending people when I give criticism. And so this chapter was like a huge just lesson and slap in the face for me personally, because I real life have to get very intentional about working on this because, you know what I'm saying, your boy, I guess I'm a little emotional, you know what I'm saying, like us all. And so as we are emotional, like when you're speaking, those emotions come out. When you're very passionate about something, those emotions can come out as well. And when you're red like I am, it can come out in a very stern and like kind of harsh way. And so reading these chapters just showed me how to like soften all of those words, soften all of those blows as well. And I just liked it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to talking about your own mistakes, that's one thing I'm getting a lot better at. I do it pretty well. And so when I was going through that chapter, and he was talking about how, I don't remember who exactly it was, but he was talking about a guy, and he was just, I think it was Dale Carnegie and his niece, but they were talking about how his niece she had made a few mistakes, and he was quick to actually get on her back in the day, but he was like, yo, I had to really stop and think like, yo, what about when I was 19? What was I doing at that age? What was I doing at that time? What was I thinking about? And when you like actually take a second to put yourself in somebody's shoes, before correcting their mistake, it makes it extremely easy for you to correct it in a way that you would have wanted to. And ultimately that just gave me a moment to reflect and think back to like why we created these type of systems, why we created the book club, why we created the big shot call, why we created everything about TGF. Really, in a sense, was, bro, when me and Marcus were literally getting started, we were like, yeah, we want to be the uplines that we always wanted. Period. We want to be the leaders that we always wanted. We want to be the people that like didn't piss us off when they were trying to help us with things, or were actually there and actually cared when we were going through things as well. And when we're trying to grow, instead of just hammering down on our mistakes and be like, you need to fire these people, stop working with them. Instead, we wanted to be the ones to actually sit there, care, show you the process, sit there, take the time, slow down to your pace, and actually help you get it as the bank teller did. Like those moments of just reflection for me as I was reading all of these chapters really just reminded me of like the heartbeat of why we do what we do, in the way that we do it, in the way that we've specifically here created it. Can't speak for any other leaders other than myself, but literally when it comes to, and Marcus low key, because we done sat down and like we really have gotten on the same page when it comes to all these issues. And when it comes to the business, like I really just sat back and thought about it like, yo, this book, even I hadn't really read the book full on through, but like this book is illustrating the exact reasons on why we built the business that we have, literally, to influence people in the ways in which that we've done well as the ways in which we've faltered. It's giving us an extreme amount of clarity as we read it as well. So it's pretty dope, man. I've just been honestly learning a lot and getting very personal and selfish as I'm reading this so that I can personally get better. Like it's not even, I'm not coming on here every single Saturday to like teach y'all some things. I'm literally like, yo, here's the lessons I'm learning, because as Marcus said, yo, this is for me. You know what I'm saying? Real life. So like, please don't hop on here for squad. Hop on here for you. Please. That's what this is for. This is for the person. This is not for the business. This is not for your income. This is not for commissions. This is not for none of that. This is for the person looking at the screen right now, the person who is watching this recording, the person who is literally like, why do I keep going through the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? This is for that person to actually dig in, to actually go and, as you think, so you are. You think better, you be better, you live better, you move better, you do better. So with that, like that's really my biggest thing, y'all. As we get into the rest of this book, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm excited because there is so much for me to learn ultimately when it comes to leadership and just actually having relationships, speaking to other people. I had a great conversation with a woman on the plane yesterday, and I spoke a good amount, but like she cold with the questions. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, Sarah, can you come be a part of what we got going on so that I can teach you, but you can also teach me? Because in a sense, somewhere along the way of my professional journey, I honestly stopped asking so many questions and started telling so many answers. And it's crazy because ultimately, as Marcus spoke about, as this book speaks about, as we've all spoken about, as prior books have spoken about, like great leaders ask great questions and they help people find the answers that are already within their head. And then as the people answer them, they're influenced and they move. And if you get a lot of people, even just to do a little bit, you can create great results. It's literally all it is. And so I was like, yo, Sarah, slide. So Sarah's actually watching the video right now. You know what I'm saying? She's about to get started. She's called me when I cut off my camera. I was chopping it up with Miss Sarah because she all in. She's decided for what we got going on. But ultimately, it's literally like when we sat down, I was like, yo, how's this conversation about to go? Because when I looked at the lady, she didn't look like everything that came out of her mouth. And I didn't stop talking to this lady for the whole 3-hour flight from Vegas to Minnesota yesterday. And as we were talking, she was asking questions, I was asking questions, she was answering, I was answering, she's asking more, I'm asking more. It was dope to be able to really create like a bridge of understanding. And she got the vision of what we're building here so clearly that before I could answer questions as she would ask them, she would say the answer. And I'm like, yo, this is getting kind of wild because you like really see what we're doing. Like it's becoming very clear. And it just brought me to a moment like those questions really bring clarity as you help a person answer them. So take that however you want to take it, apply it in whatever way in your life that you can. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to family relationships, when it comes to business, when it comes to everything. But literally, I am excited because truly, as we get into like chapter 6, how to spur people on to success, like these parts are like real life critical. You know what I'm saying? Like real life critical. Knowing how to actually influence people, knowing how to give people guidance and have it be out of a place of love and not hate, even them take it in a place of love and not hate. That is how you can literally spur people on to actually getting into movement. And honestly, like if we're calling ourselves leaders, we got to be in movement, but the purpose of us leading is so that other people can be in movement along the same path. So I'm excited and I'm grateful, and this book is lit and the chapters are lit, and I'm having a great time actually applying this in my life as well. So I hope y'all are doing the same, because knowledge is not power until it is applied. So with that, Imani, you can go ahead and take it. What's up, girl?
Can y'all see me? Or is it black? I don't know. Oh, hi. Oh, hi there. Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope y'all are all enjoying your days, living your best life, just existing and being happy. You know what I mean? Happy Saturday, all that good stuff. Okay, so I am, let's see. Let me go back to the chapter, the first one. This is so funny because I actually literally had this entire experience, this all these chapters happened to me literally. So the first one is call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Was that the first one of it? Okay, I'm just making sure. um I'm like, this is my book. Like, this book is about me and my life, because these are already my skills that I already have. So it's really funny to like read it, and I'm just like, oh, I already do that. I already do. It's like a natural thing for me, which I know it's not natural for everybody. But yesterday I was kind of, on the phone with my friend, and all these chapters just like came. So call to people's mistakes indirectly is like, it's interesting because it really does tie into, criticizing people without making them hate you. I think all of these chapters are put together in the sequence it needs to be in, because people are very sensitive. It's not just women, it's men, it's children, it's old people. Lord, old people sometimes don't even know how to take orders. So that's why I'm saying the sequence is crazy, because it makes so much sense when practicing it with other people, how important it is to not necessarily call people out. So Marcus, you said earlier, like, criticizing and without making people hate you, but you feel like there's always some little resonance of hate and stuff. And I don't know if that's necessarily true. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's all about the delivery, truly about the delivery. And if you know how to reach that certain person, and I think everybody individually has their own ways of reacting to things. I also do as well. You see what I did there? I just did it right now. Like, I know for a fact, like, when people come with me with criticism, it's like, come correct, be respectful, don't act like I don't know anything, just like tell me what's up and be real with me. Don't beat around the bush, just go on and tell me, so I won't be reacting all like, oh, who the hell do you? So calling to people's mistakes indirectly, I think like the chapter, I skimmed it. Okay. And I think it could have gave a little more insight, to be honest. Especially like maybe just indirectly, like how I do it is I'll ask questions instead. Like I'll ask people like, I wonder what would have happened if you would have tried this, or were you in thinking of doing it this way by any chance? And like saying it with this like softness to it, where I'll have people really thinking like, damn, okay. So I did that yesterday with my friend. I'm not gonna put my friend's business out there. I'll put a little bit out there, but friends going through friends going through a lot, breakup. His mom got shot. Bro. Like, what else? Like his friend, like one of his friends died. And so it's a lot. And the situation with his now ex-girlfriend had come to like a head. And I had to just really, like, as he was telling me his portion of it, in my head, I'm like, oh, no wonder you're going through it. You're letting all this slide. You're not honoring yourself. You're really disrespecting yourself. So that's why you feel you going through what you're going through. But I didn't say that because I can't say that. I got to say it softer. Like, well, do you think at that moment, like you maybe abandoned yourself? And then my friend broke down, and that was crazy. I'm like, damn, I'm too good at this, bro. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just kidding. Okay. Because I really felt for my friend, and I felt bad because I'm like, damn, but sometimes you got to talk to people and really get under, ask those questions that will call out their mistakes without necessarily making them feel stupid or less than, because that's the whole point, like being really gentle and giving people grace. I learned it's a great way to like call people out without, calling them out. So in that line of questioning, I'll always be like, because I know if I did something like this is how it would make me feel. And I've done stuff like this before. And I know that it's caused me this. And that's like another way of like adding in that, like that sprinkle to get to the real, like telling them, ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Let them get there themselves. And I think that's a real important part of these chapters is letting people get there on their own. Like I try to tell people this all the time. It's not your place to change people. It's not your place to expect people to be better than what they are and at where they are. And that's not nothing negative. It's you have to allow people to get there on their own time. Everybody's not fast. Everybody doesn't want to do the work immediately. Sometimes there's a lot more behind the scenes that needs to be broken down for people to be able to get to the point where they're okay with accepting help and wanting to change. And that doesn't happen for everybody at the same time. So getting them to get those questions, it's like, talk about your mistakes. If you talk about your mistakes, it kind of like loosens people up a bit to make them more, accepting of what you're trying to tell them. And it helps. So I think in this whole line in the sequence of how you talk to people, you can mix it up. You can talk to people in very specific ways just to like know who you're talking to, give them grace, allow them to get to it on their own. And it works. Trust me, it works been working for me for a long time. It worked with me last night. I asked all the questions, like real deep questions, and they opened up to me about their abandonment issues and their fears and this and this and that. And I'm like, I already knew that. But because I asked you in the way that allows you to be open, they got there on their own. And so then I came in with now, you was doing this. Like, that's not you. What are you even doing? So it's like kind of breaking them in and being real soft with them first, and then coming in with the real. Like, I'm your friend, especially you could definitely be, the closer you are with people, the easier it is to just be like, now damn well. And I think if you can do that with people you just meet, which I've done that with. I do that with people I just meet all the time because I guess I care so much that I don't give a fuck. If that makes sense. Like I care just. Oh, sorry, baby. Hi, I'm so sorry. Hi, girl. Hey, girl, you so cute. Oh my god. I'm not gonna cuss no more. I promise. So it's like when I meet new people, like people open up to me very, very quickly. So it's kind of, I have to kind of figure out people on the fly. And let me, yes, that is true. Sometimes I don't be knowing the answers. And when I'm talking to people, I will ask them straight up, like, well, was it this or was it this or was it that? And a lot of times those questions, they'll be able to be like, oh no, it's more like this. Or sometimes I am right. And they are more accepting of it because I'm not assuming. And that is a huge thing. What was that book that we read? Power of Awareness in one of in the chapter. Like,
but there's also those, essentially what you're talking about as well. It gets taught about in Everyone Communicates, You Connect. Whenever you've got the actual connection there and you allow somebody to know that you care and you actually are like, let me understand your perspective, then they know that they're understood and they're more receptive for what it is you got to say. But
exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're so much more willing to open up. And I think that is really important for all of us as humans, not just as business owners and leaders, just humans in general, to allow people to express themselves, be open, and then we can come in and be like, you were in the wrong. And I've had a lot of friends in the wrong. I've been in the wrong. And I'll say that too. Like, I know I've done this and I was wrong and you did this and honey, you were wrong. So it's definitely allowing them, kind of giving them the grace to accept their own accountability. So yes. Actually, that's all I got to say today, y'all. All right, Matt, it's on you.
I take it. What up, y'all? Sorry, I was in the shower and then my stomach's been hurting all morning, so I was on the toilet for a little. So y'all are fam. So I'm just letting y'all know, keeping it real. So that's why my camera was off, but I was in tune. I need to get better at reading. So that's that. But listening to like everybody talk and everything like that, I think there's a big fine line of like being a leader and then trying to be a boss. And I think a lot of people kind of get that like mixed up. And like I'm gonna just do it. Like those of y'all that work a 9 to 5 or have basically a boss, there's some times where I guess a lot of people take the title. How do I put this? They end up, I don't know how to put this in words. It's just like there's some times where I guess they take it, I'm not saying like too seriously because it's a job, that's what you do for work and that's how you make a living. But there's some ways to communicate to people, you know what I mean? They're not just like there's certain ways that you have to communicate and how you have to actually talk to people. And some ways might resonate with others. Some might not in a different way just because everybody's different. And I think it's a good point that Amani said, is like asking questions, trying to see if there's like another way. Because I know personally some people, they don't like being held accountable. They don't like being told they're wrong. A lot of people like being right all the time. And I think it's just being able to communicate with them, ask those questions and be like, look, you think you could have done this differently? Or just like Amani said and stuff like that. I think that's a big step that I think every leader should learn. And obviously, like I'm still going through that. My communication skills are way better than they used to be, but they're not to where like I need to be at to grow as a leader. You know what I mean? So that is one thing that like I've been working on is not it's basically kind of like meeting people where they're at. And we say this all the time because not everybody is as far along as other people, you know what I mean, in their personal development, on how they take different stuff, on how people actually listen. Like there's ways to talk to different people based on where they're at, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, a lot of leaders in different, like I said, whether it's in work, whether it's your own business, I just think there's people out there that don't do it the right way, and really are like we are all leaders on here, right? We're not nobody's boss like in this specific realm or anything like that. And I think once people can actually get a good understanding of, okay, this person is here, this person is there, this is how this person likes to get communicated to. I can push this boundary a little bit to this person, just like Amani said, if you have a homeboy that you've grown up with, like me and Marcus can literally have like a serious conversation, actually get like real, but I can't do that with somebody I just met like a week ago or like a couple days ago. And because you really kind of don't really know how they're going to actually interact with everything like that. So I think on the safer side and asking like those questions on, you think this could have been differently, or you think instead of this, you could have done this, or if you thought about this way, what do you think the outcome would be if you, I don't know, you know what I mean? So I just think there's a lot of communication skills that needs to get taken place and need to be learned in all aspects. I think once you do that, once you actually get a good understanding of everything, I think all the dominoes will just like fall in place. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I appreciate everybody's insight. That's pretty much all I got today, but I'm for sure gonna dive back into reading because I know I need to. So I appreciate y'all. I'll let whoever wants to take it. I think that might be it.
Hey Matt, I was gonna say if you ever like have trouble reading, just read an audio, listen to an audiobook, man. Ain't nobody gonna know nobody gonna know. Like sometimes with an audiobook, like yeah, the people voices can be hit or miss. But if you just driving like somewhere, we in the car a lot. We be at home a lot. You say you was in the shower, listen to an audiobook. Don't stress yourself about like having to sit down and like read a book and focus on everything. Sometimes we ain't got time for that, and that's okay. Like they got audiobooks. A lot of them, if you have like Apple Premium or if you have Apple Music or Spotify Premium, they'll come like, oh, so many books are available on audiobook on Spotify Premium. And like I've gotten the Everybody Connects, damn it, Few Connect, Everybody, that book. And like a lot of the books that I've gotten on there are like, I'll just be driving and I'll listen to it real quick, and it's like easy. You can cook, you can clean, do whatever, and just listen to the audiobook. Like nobody has to know. There's no shame in that game.
I promise quite a few people do that. Like Kelsey doesn't read any of these physical books. She listens to audiobooks on all of them. So it's definitely doable. Well, obviously my wife is away from the camera and I don't think that she's going to go. So I think that we've all gone today. So it's all good.
Come
What
T,
about
we want to hear
Mr.
you,
Black?
T.
Mr. Black Raiden.
Mr. Black Raiden went before you hopped on the call.
Oh, never mind.
Wait, no.
I'm here, but I'm not talking. I'm just here for the ride.
I can hear
Per
you. I
usual.
can hear you. I can hear you. Sounds like you're talking. Go ahead.
I am talking. It was a great book club, y'all. Y'all did great.
Okay,
I love listening.
one thing that stood out to you
No
I haven't
notes at
read.
all.
I have 0 notes.
from everything you heard, because you heard it was a fire book club. So, like, what was the
It
big
was great.
takeaway?
Dude, I'm not answering your question. I love y'all.
It's okay. We appreciate you really being here, and I'm very proud of you for just showing up.
Thanks.
I also know that you've always said you wanted to read for the book club.
I know. I will. I'll listen. I'm gonna take Imani's advice.
You know?
What?
Great
Is
advice.
that baby? That's Amber's baby knee.
What happened?
She's sitting.
Why?
That's what babies do.
Why are Poppy
Yes,
the
it's
mouth?
She has a pasty because she's a baby.
Why?
Hey, Grandma's coming.
Why?
Take her diaper.
Oh, she's at that age now.
Oh yeah, why?
Oh, Rye is the same way.
Y'all can end the recording.
I was about to say.
All right, y'all. Well, I believe we're finishing the book next week.
We are last 5 chapters. I'm actually sad to see the next one.
Just want to make sure that it's actually there, though, so that it's in tune.
Beach Money,
Bow.
right? Beach Money's next.
Book club is there. The next book club is on the 6th. Oh, that's today. It's the 13th. Part 6 through 9. Yep, chapter 6 through 9. So the next book that we got, and I'll make sure that it goes up there so that you guys can start getting the book for it. Got it, don't you worry. It's right here.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for all your help with
You're
this
very
book.
welcome. It's called Beach Money.
Beach what?
Beach Money.
Beach Money. Okay, thank you.
I don't know the author just yet, but once I got it, you'll be
Hold
the
on, I got
first to know it.
It's by
Maybe-
Jordan Adler.
Jordan Adler.
Essentially, beach money represents the ability to earn a substantial income while enjoying the luxuries of leisure and travel, creating a lifestyle that many dream of with network marketing.
Affiliate
Adler argues this
marketing.
dream can become a reality. So it's
Nice
about
accent.
It's honestly, this book is how me and Tia took 100 vacations in the last 10 years, 100 plus. We stopped counting after 100. But literally, this is lit. I'm really excited because all of my mentors with my previous company swore up and down by this book. And I never actually got the chance to read it. I just never went and found it, bought it, no, none of that. Now we have this really cool thing called the digital library. And we have a really cool folder in there called network marketing. And in there is this book, Beach Money. But also, go get the audio book. It's everywhere. Literally, I just Googled it and it popped right up on a whole bunch of different sites. But honestly, this one gonna be one of them ones when it comes to business and actually creating a residual bag for yourself. So tune in. I am excited because it'll really give a great insight from what I've heard into what this lifestyle actually, one, requires, but also two, looks like from the inside out. So,
Oh,
man,
Well, great discussion today. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Seriously, you guys did very good. I hope you all have a
I love
fantastic.
you.
What did you say, Amber?
Oh, I thought we were saying bye. Sorry.
We will.
we love you too, bro.
Much love, y'all.
bye-bye. Goodbye.
Happy Saturday. We'll see
Much
you
love.
around the clock.
Bye, everyone.
Second.
I'm in the field. Bye, la.